Hi, and welcome to Save the Track Bike. I'm your host, Joshua LeBure. Thank you so much for downloading this episode. I really appreciate it. I've been having a lot of fun just with this podcast and all the interviews we've been doing, and today's conversation is no exception. I had a really good time talking to my guest today, who is Sydney Richardson, or aka Quadney Maximus. We had a lot of fun talking. She's a fixed gear crit racer. She's a track racer. She's on the Engine 11 women's team. So we get into all that, how she got into bicycles. It was just really fun. We talk all about Mission Crit and a bunch of races that are coming up, the SoCal Crit Series. We talk about some track cycling stuff. So, without further ado, actually, one more ado. Please take a minute if you want to, if you like this podcast, to go to iTunes and rate and review. Sorry, that's the obligatory thing that every podcaster has to do, I guess. Anyway, now without further ado, let's get to my conversation with Sydney Richardson, or Quadney Maximus. Cool. So, I guess we can get started.
Okay.
So I'm here with Sydney, Quadney, whatever you want to call her, Richardson. And, do you want to introduce yourself and kind of what you do?
Sure. Hi, my name is Sydney. Also starting to refer to myself as Quadney. I currently work at Zwift. I'm a mobile developer, and I work on our iOS companion app. And outside of my job, I race bikes, mostly track, and now more so fixed crits this past year. And I'm on Engine 11.
Nice.
I live in Long Beach, California.
Cool. So, how did you get into bicycles? Like, what's your history with that?
I started riding bikes to get to high school. I lived like 3.5 miles away from my high school, and there was these like really elusive guys that were older than me who like had these. I didn't know at the time, but they had like fixie conversion bikes. They were like steel framed. I was like, wow, those bikes are so cool. Like. And I've always really liked the aesthetic of road bikes. And so they like inspired me to like, I like found this bike at a garage sale when I did a summer program in Baltimore at a Maryland Institute College of Art. And there was like a $10 bike on the side of the road. And I was like, I want that. And I was like so stoked on it because
Nice.
it was like a mixty frame. And I was like, look at this bike geometry. I was just like so stoked on how like different it was, because I thought I was like unique, but it really wasn't that unique, but I thought it was.
Yeah, totally.
And then it was just like, it became like the way to like get out of being around my parents. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna go escape. See you later. And then they would be like, oh, don't ride your bike to school. It's dangerous. Yeah. And then my mom was like, it's too dangerous. And then like the rebel in me was like, no, I'm gonna do it.
And this is my thing now.
Yeah. Like, don't tell me how to live my life. You don't know anything. So then I went to college in northern Florida in Gainesville, and it like riding my bike was just like always that stress relief, and then it was like, I'm gonna do this to like lose weight and get fit, and but then like it just made me like, and I was never like overweight or anything, but like it just made my muscles bigger and like my quads, my legs bigger. And so then this is how this Quadney story starts, but or like my life of Quadney starts. But like And then I was like, I'm not losing any weight. Like, I'm not getting any smaller. And then, yeah, it was just like an escape. And it was like so euphoric. And then eventually I figured out like eating brownies and then going on bike rides, like pot brownies. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like
I live
going
in
on
Denver,
like,
I know all about that.
Yeah, And then, oh my God, I loved doing that. It was just like so euphoric, you know? And then it's always like, oh, when's it gonna hit? And it would take like an hour, and you're like, where will I be when it hits? And then you're just like vibing, listening to music, and exploring. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's, yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't realize like how euphoric riding bikes were because I rode bikes my whole life. You know, I raced BMX when I was a kid. I was always out doing dirt jumps and stuff. And like in my early 20s, you know, I'm in my 30s now, but in my early 20s got obsessed with like fixed gear and stuff. And so it was just always a part of my life. And then for a couple years, up until like a year ago, I didn't ride a bike at all. And like, I just got in like the worst funk of my life, like almost hitting rock bottom. And then like a year ago, I don't know what happened. I just took my bike out one day because I was just feeling so shitty. And I rode like, at the time, what I thought was like crazy to like do, I rode like 20 miles, you know, just for fun.
Yeah. I remember the first time I rode 20 miles and I was like, I rode 20 miles today. I'm exhausted.
Right.
It's like so much.
Yeah, for real. And then I just remember being like, oh man, I need to keep this up because I used to ride a lot more than that, just, you know, for utility. So then to just do it was kind of liberating because I was like, oh shit, I can ride a bike not just to race and not just to go to work and commute or whatever. Like I can actually ride a bike and just ride for fun.
Yeah, to like not be depressed and sad.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. Yeah. It's funny how that works.
It's really great. Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, like, when I was, like, in my, like, depressed and sad and riding bikes to not be sad, I was like, I'm never going to race ever. Like, I didn't like crits. I tried it once, and, like, I have asthma, so it didn't work well with me doing, like, endurance activities at that intensity.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the atmosphere of road cycling because everyone was just like so like sponsored out in their kits and with all these advertisements, and I was like no, like I'm gonna wear a t-shirt and my pink shorts and like no one like don't fucking talk to me. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think there's
a lot of
oh no, sorry. I think that's part of kind of what attracts me to like fixed gear and stuff is like I have a lot of friends that are roadies and stuff, and like I love like road bikes or whatever. I kind of like the whole aesthetic and stuff, but sometimes it just seems about like so much about like what you're buying all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's just always about like I just got this like $300 jersey and whatever. And the thing I like about and like who has the coolest like carbon bike or whatever. And like in the
my friend Anna, she's like, what type of ceramic is your bearings?
Yeah. Which is fine, whatever. Like if that's like but I just think it's the thing I like about whenever it's in the fixed gear world is a lot of times it does just seem like just to be on a bike is enough. And like, you know, you can't go too crazy. Well, you can get crazy with a track bike. That's a lie. I mean, Felt has like a $26,000 track bike, so I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
as
I
far
think
as
it's even
gear
more
crits,
expensive. Like the Look L96 is like over $12,000.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But in the fixed gear like crit world, I guess it's like everybody's like racing aluminum and it's fine, and like everybody either has like omnium or like durace, which are, you know, expensive. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like a you know, SRAM Red ETAP or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So what attracted you to the fixed gear world, I guess I should say?
Well, what happened? What happened? Why did I do that? Okay, what happened was my last, like, my senior year of college, I had this road bike, and it was like a steel road bike that I bought from like one of those shops that refurbish stuff. They're now called the Freewheel Project, and it's in Gainesville. They're super rad people. They like recycle bikes and like teach the community how to care for their bikes. What happened was I locked my bike up at a football game, and then I left. It was my own fault. I like left it in a very inconvenient location, and like the back wheel got trampled on. And I was just like so fucking sad and like so pissed off, and then I never went to a football game after that. And then I was like, all right, like this sucks, but this is gonna be like my perfect opportunity to make this into a fixie, as I've like been wanting to do. And so my friends helped me like build a wheel, and we got like all the parts, and I wanted everything to be a different color. So like the spokes were like white, red, blue, and yellow on a green rim with like and then like the cranks were gold, and my handlebar tape was orange, and the front wheel was a blue rim. And yeah, and then like we built this like, and the bike itself is brown. So like now we like got all these parts, and like I made my rainbow bike, and I just felt so cool with like my fixie conversion. It's like, yeah, like my bike's the coolest one out here. No one can fuck with me. And then but for racing, I moved to San Francisco when I graduated because I got a job, and then I knew about the Velodrome because I read about it in Bicycling Magazine on the article about Dana Feiss and her quads. And they were like, oh, Dana Feiss, she's a track sprinter. And I'm like, wow, what is that? Like, I want quads like that. And so then when I moved to California, I like went out to Hellier Velodrome, and I like rode my fixie there. And they were like, you can't ride this bike on the track. You have to rent a bike. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I'll do that. And then I really liked it. And I like the separation of track racing, because you're like in a specific area. Like this area is dedicated for racing and only, or not just only racing, but like this is a dedicated circle oval.
Yeah. And
I like that versus like road riding, because over road racing, because with road racing, like I get distracted too easily, you know. like oh, it's so pretty outside, like oh, like there's a bird, or like oh, that's a funny sign. So, and then it also turns out that like I'm good at sprinting, so the track was just like, wow, like this is a manifestation of everything that I am good at.
That's
Let me
awesome.
keep doing this. Yeah.
There's nothing that feels like, the closest thing that I can think that feels like riding on a velodrome is like a roller coaster.
Oh, 100%.
It's so crazy, just the way I did it I've been riding fixed gear bikes for a decade now, and like I did the velodrome for the first time last summer, and I was like shocked by how unique that experience, like how it feels.
Which velodrome did you go to?
So we actually have two out here in Colorado. We have there's one in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
That's like part of the Olympic Training Center. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then we have Boulder Valley Velodrome.
So that's where Dana lives. Dana fights my Quadspiration.
Oh, nice.
She lives in Boulder.
Cool.
She goes to that velodrome.
Yeah, that's the one I went to.
Nice.
That velodrome is wild. I don't know. It's crazy. And it's for sale. So if you know anybody that has $4 million, I want to buy a velodrome. But I don't know anyone with that kind of money, so.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I hope that they're going to be open this summer. Because I really want to do that. I mean, I'm about equal distance from the Colorado Springs and the Boulder one, but the Boulder one really supports, all the fixed gear crits that we had. They were supporting it and posting about it and sponsoring the races and stuff. So,
I follow them on Instagram.
Yeah.
I want to go out there for a Friday night race or whatever
you totally
weekly races are.
You totally should.
Maybe. Maybe I'll be there this year.
There you go.
But the guy who runs the Colorado Springs Velodrome, he's super rad. His name is Chris. He also has a podcast, but I don't know what happened to it or what he's doing with it.
Oh, nice. I had no idea. I want to go down to that one too. Don't get me wrong. But Boulder. Well,
it's the local
Well, that one I just knew a bunch of people that go to that one. I don't really know anybody in Colorado Springs. I'm not gonna lie.
Word. Well.
But Colorado Springs is kind of growing a lot, so I don't know. I can't afford to buy a house in Denver these days, so maybe I'll buy one in Colorado Springs at some point.
Yeah. Well, so to the effect of the roller coaster one, the velodrome here in LA, the Velo Sports Center, you literally feel like you're on a roller coaster, and it's not even the fastest track.
Yeah.
The G-force, you feel I feel like a rocket ship when I'm doing my flying 200 efforts. I'm oh my god, I'm going so fast.
I feel like that's how this. I don't have enough to compare, but that's how the Boulder one feels to me. Nice. And it's I guess the guy that was running that program, or hopefully still is, used to run the program at the one in Minneapolis.
Oh,
and
cool.
he moved to Boulder to run the program out there. Yeah,
he's
nice. Really nice dude. He looks like Matthew Broderick. I kept looking at him you look and sound like Matthew Broderick. Exactly.
Nice. So I've been to the Velodrome in Minneapolis. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And the whole scene out there is super rad.
That's what I hear.
It's it's really, that's all I can say. It's just super rad.
I know
a bunch of really rad women's cycling race teams too.
Yeah, I saw that All City documentary that they did about Coachella.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
And I don't know. I love watching that when I want to get pumped on cycling.
Yeah.
I'm a filmmaker too, so I get really nerdy about all the videos and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, that, and then there was a documentary about a guy who was a track cyclist in the U.S. and went out to Japan to do Keirin. And those two things, I was I need to finally get out to the track.
Oh my
and
God.
Think, So my goal is to get my certification and stuff this year, because I'm so fucking lucky to live within an hour of 2 velodromes when most of the country doesn't even have access to one.
Yeah.
That I should really take advantage of that, especially because it's such a cool feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I feel just as fortunate. I'm within, depending on traffic, within an 20 minutes away from the Velo Sports Center, and then within 2 hours from San Diego Velodrome and then Encino Velodrome.
Nice.
And Encino's the valley, I guess they call it.
Okay.
And then, and then my parents moved, as soon as I moved out, they moved next to the Velodrome in Florida, which is in Cooper City, Fort Lauderdale, Broward County area.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then Hellier's always has a place in my heart, though. I miss that place.
That one's in Florida too, you said?
Hell Yeah Velodrome is in San Jose, the Bay Area.
Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I thought that it would be cool to make a documentary at some point and just go to all the tracks and ride on them, and like I think that would be really fun. So
yeah,
one day I'm gonna do a crowdfunding thing, and hopefully all these people will help me make my movie.
Nice.
So
well, you gotta upgrade though, just so you can like. It would be cool if like you're like the thing that you wanted to do was race at each of the velodromes and then like gather upgrade points, and then like at the end of the year, like how would you rank like in each of the states or each of the velodromes, you know?
Yeah.
My friend Ethan and I, we were like, so this year I won the state championships of Northern California and Southern California.
Okay.
For Scratch and Kieran. And so then my friend Ethan and I were like, oh, if you can win the state championships in every state, does that make you a national champion?
Maybe.
Maybe. Exactly. So then it's like, oh, like, how do we make this happen? So you should do that.
Yeah, I'll just do that. I'm going to do that. I'll call it, the movie can be called Am I a National Champion? Perfect.
with the emoji,
yeah,
the thinking
exactly.
face emoji. Yeah.
Exactly. You got to do it. It's 2018. You got to do
it. Yeah. I will support you.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
So, what are your favorite track events? Because there's all kinds of different races. And
oh, yeah.
What are your favorites to do? What do you specialize in? Well, you're a sprinter, so.
Right. Kieran is totally my favorite. But I love match sprints because they're so fucking hard. Like, not only are they hard, like, physically, because you gotta, like, sprint, but, like, mentally, they are super taxing because you're like, what is this person gonna do? How am I gonna like outsmart this person? You have to like understand who they are as like racers and like what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and then like strategize your like plan around it. And then if your plans don't, and if it doesn't go according to your plan, then you have to like think like, oh shit, what am I gonna do now? Or you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love match sprints. But I'm not really good at them right now.
Well, you know.
But I'm good at Kieran.
Sweet.
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Perfect.
That's my quest.
I think that Madison looks horrifying. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, it looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
I don't really have any interest in doing it, though.
Yeah. I was watching like Mark Cavendish doing that at with the 6-day race or whatever that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, man, I don't know. It just looked very intimidating.
Yeah.
I kind of tried to do it with my friend the other day while we were riding, just on a trail, you know. I was like, grabbed him, and I almost crashed. I was really close to crashing.
I like to do that with skateboarders, but they never accept my offer.
Man. Come on, skateboarders, where you at?
I'm like, come on, free ride, and then they're like, no.
No.
I'm like, oh, okay, I see you.
So did the track racing come first or the crits? Like
track racing.
Okay, so how did you get into the fixed gear crits? Where did that come from?
Do you know Veronica Bullock?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Veronica was like, she's my fixie hero. She's Bay Area based, and like, so she won Mission Crit like the first year, I think. And then I did Mission Crit in 2016, and like totally just like I was just like a casual bike rider at the time, and I like just got my track bike. And I was like, I want to try it. And I like had no training whatsoever. And just like got out, like I was like pulled out after like a couple laps. But like she So, like, when I would go to the track, I would see her because she was, like, helping out with the women's program. And I was like, wow, like, oh, my God, I love you. I want to. And she's just, like, the coolest person. And she's really fun. And so she was, like, in 2016 when I first started racing, she was posting all about, like, oh, I did Red Hook. And, like, here's how it went. And, like, I did better than I did in the other race. And like, she was on YB Normal, and I was like, wow, just like this girl, like she just like races her bikes and like people send her places. I'm like, dang, like that's fucking awesome. And so she was the one who inspired me to try it. And I, mostly because I just like wanted to hang out with her.
Yeah.
And like train. So we would like train together, and we were on the same track team, called She Spoke Racing, which is based out of Bay Area. And, yeah. And so, this past year, 2017, because it's 2018 now.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
yeah, we,
for those of you listening, we're recording this on January 2nd, so give us a break.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to hear this till next week.
Oh, great. So, Mission Crit came around again, and I was like, this time I was like prepared, and Veronica's on a different team, and like she was just like my fixie hero. And so like we did Mission Crit, and like it was basically like Joe Celso off the front, Christina Peck like off the front behind Joe, but like in front of us. And it was basically just like me and Veronica like like racing together. And I was just like so stoked to just like be in that moment. And like that, like Mission Crit 2017 is like why I was like, okay, like I want to keep racing fixed gear crits.
That's awesome.
Because just like, yeah, just like the stoke of it. And that sounded really dumb, the stoke of it.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah.
I always like doing these podcasts, like I'll say things and I'm like, oh, why did I say that or whatever.
Yeah.
But then like I think that it's helping me because it's making me realize that whatever.
Yeah, no one really cares.
Yeah, I'll say whatever I want. So no, but
yeah.
that's awesome. Mission Crit looks like a lot of fun.
Oh my god!
Like this was my first year trying racing at all. I mean, since I was a kid and raced like BMX and whatever, and it was just so much fun. So this summer, I definitely think I'm gonna just put myself out there and go to as many races as I can. And
come to Mission Crit.
Yeah,
you will love it. It's
right.
So yeah, it's like the course of last year's course was just like there was like a sprint, and then there was a hairpin, and then you had to like make like a right turn to an uphill, and then there was like a slight downhill, and there was like a chicane, and it was just like, and then there was like a sprint again, like it was like the most fun course I've ever done. And I haven't done a lot of courses, but it's going to be hard to beat. Yeah,
that sounds really rad, actually.
Yeah.
The one crit that I did was basically a giant oval. And I was way under geared, so I got dropped pretty much immediately. I mean, I went in going like, okay, I'm not trained. I am not at a like good race weight or whatever. But I want to do it. And then next summer I'll try to like, take it a little more seriously. And so my only goals going in were to not crash and to not get last, and I accomplished those.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's all that's important.
Yeah, it was great. And then I think that I will like, because I've done just like training on what I would consider like more technical type things, and I think that I'll have a lot more fun with that for where I am.
Yeah. Because
I'm a decent sprinter just because I'm like a heavier person in general,
right.
And I have like lots of leg muscle, and that's kind of where my
those
power
type 2
is.
fibers.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So that's kind of where I think my strength will be. And then I also have good bike handling, so I feel like the more technical courses will be more fun for me because I can sprint out of those.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I haven't really figured out what my tactics are going to be yet, but, you know, I'll get there.
Just got to race first, and then you'll figure out the tactics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got to race more. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, there's, like, hella track fix crits down here in SoCal. I think they're gonna like do the SoCal Fix series again.
Oh yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that because when I was trying to like research around Instagram about you or whatever.
How did you find me?
I actually have no idea. Like I think I was just following a bunch of people, and then because I was just kind of getting back into fixed gear bikes, and I'm not even sure. I think probably through Engine 11, actually. I think that they posted a picture of the team, and I was like, oh, cool, there's a women's team, and then I was, like, just following everyone.
Nice.
But, like, you post so much, and, like, your Instagram presence is, like, super unique.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, just because, like, it's funny, like, all the quad stuff, I don't know.
Yes.
So I was like, trying to think of, like, who I wanted to have on this podcast, and I was just kind of, like, scrolling through Instagram and stuff, and was, like, just kind of messaging people and being like, whoever's down, let's do this.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I just made an Instagram called Quad Spotting. I don't know if you...
Yes, I think
up on... Yeah.
I think my Save the Track Bike one is following that.
Yes. Oh my god, that Instagram account is so much fun.
Yeah.
Just like random people start sending me their quads and
That's
like
awesome.
literally from all over the world, and I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Sweet.
So great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to get into Quadcast, but at first I want to talk about...
Oh, for sure.
I want to talk about...
SoCal Fix series?
Yes. That's
cool.
where...
Okay. Yeah, what about it?
I don't know, like,
okay.
I saw that, how many races were in that, and, I saw that you won a bunch of them, or did you win the series, or?
Okay, so, I think there was 6 races. I won every one that I raced.
Nice.
No, not true.
Okay.
Not true. I raced 5 of them. I won 4 of them, and I won the series. Yeah, because the last one, I didn't win, but because I didn't need to win.
Yeah.
To win the series, but yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. It was like the first fix crit of the year, I believe. Okay. And I was like really unsure of like, oh, am I gonna do well? I don't know. Like I haven't done any crit racing. I haven't done any fixed crit racing. And like it wasn't even track season yet. And so a few of us drove down from San Francisco in combination for the first SoCal Fix series race and Track World Cup. So we got to like watch Track World Cup, and then that's also how I found out about Zwift, which is now my employer.
Nice.
And then there was like a gold sprint that SWAT had put on for ALC fundraising, which is AIDS Life Cycle, and then there was this fixed crit, and so I was like, okay, this is gonna be a sick weekend, and then yeah, there was just like. The first race, it was raining, it was cold. There were some girls from New York here too, some girls and guys, some people from New York, and it was like super hyped up, I feel like, and I was like so intimidated. And then during the race, we like had a breakaway. It was me, Erica Ashley, or Erica Schwanke. Who was the other person? Evelyn Delgado. She's on Engine 11. And I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's on Throne. So it was a breakaway between us 4. And I distinctly remember like thinking that Erica wasn't pulling her weight. And so when I would get in the front of like our little pace line, she'd be like, Sydney, go faster. And I was like, hell no. And so then I would like fake it. I was like acting. I was like, I'm going as fast as I can. and then the last lap came around and everyone was trying to get me in the front. And I was like, hell no, I'm not going to be in the front. I'm a sprinter. And so then my heart is racing just thinking about it. But yeah, and then like we just kept riding, and then the last corner came up, and then it was just like, okay, time to sprint now. And then yeah, that was the first race I won. And it was really rad. And then I was like hooked on it. I was like, oh my God, okay, cool. I gotta come to all these now.
That's awesome. So who puts that race on? It seems like a really cool series. I want to see more of that in the world.
Luis is his name.
Okay.
I'm really bad with names. Let me make sure. Let me get his last name. Luis O.C. Brakeless.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I followed him on Instagram too, I think.
Yeah. He's really rad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he puts them on. They were really fun. And yeah, a lot of people came out for that race. The whole series was fun. It definitely like, it wasn't, it like had like a dip in like fun in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I think just, at least for me, cause like the women's field sort of like, it wasn't as big since the first race. But it was still like, I'm still like so grateful that that series was around last year. Or else I probably wouldn't be doing fixed crits.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we had a problem where there was a fixed gear crit out here, and we only had one woman enter, and she ended up racing anyway with the dudes, and she was like 16.
Dang.
She was a badass.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I wish there would have been more though. It would have been really cool to have a more presence, for the women's side. But the fixed gear scene out here isn't that huge anyway, as it is. And all of the fixed gear races that happened were like really last minute. It was kind of like there was a crit, and then they would like throw on a fixed gear category like a month before.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's good to hear that it's happening so much more all over, it seems.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I don't know, like, is that just because we follow so much of it on Instagram, or is it actually happening?
I think that it's actually happening. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I believe, I think it is actually happening.
Well, in Colorado, this was the first year that there was even a sanctioned fixed gear crit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was a USA cycling race, and it was really rad. It was mostly just track racers who have never done a fixed gear crit before.
Nice.
And then a couple other guys who they have a fixed gear group out here. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it went really well, and everybody was really stoked on it. So they're definitely going to bring it again this summer. So hopefully there'll be more time and get a bigger women's field and get a bigger presence of,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
People.
We have a couple sanctioned fixed crits here as well, through like California Bicycle Racing is the name of the series, CBR.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you know about that Victorville? Like, it's a 3-day race. They have a track bike category.
Yeah, that's like a stage race on the fixed gear bike. Yeah, I heard of that.
I wanted to do that. I
didn't want to do it.
I want to do it.
I will encourage you. It seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I just talked to Josh Tyrell from State Bicycle Team,
mm-hmm.
and he was talking about it. Well, him and Scott, I guess the whole state team went there last year or something, and Scott and Josh both said that it was a blast.
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a lot, there's so much racing down here, and it starts so soon. It's like in a couple weeks or something.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not ready. Like, you gotta chill.
Yeah. It's too cold here. I went on a ride the other day, and I didn't have good enough gloves, and I had this crazy headwind, so it felt more like 0 degrees when it was actually like 24.
Nope.
And my pinkies are still numb.
Oh my God.
Like, it's been 2 days.
I'm from Florida. Like, I cannot handle the cold.
Yeah, I grew up in Southeast Texas, and it was like really hot down there. But I've lived here for like 17 years now, so I'm kind of used to it now. But I think I'm getting sick of it.
Oh yeah.
But I like riding on mountains.
You could hop on Zwift.
Right?
Shameless
yeah.
plug.
No, totally. I feel you. I got to go get a sensor, so I'm not just on the trainer with no info.
Oh my God. Yeah, the workouts on Zwift really like save my attention span.
Nice.
Otherwise, I don't have the attention span.
Yeah, right. I'm kind of the same way, but lately I've been finding help in like turning on The Office. And I'll be like,
True.
I'm gonna ride for 3 episodes. And I'm gonna sprint during the credits and where the commercials would be.
Oh wow, that's a great idea. It's like, what is that where you like drink when people say some word?
Oh,
and,
that's
like,
a great
watch a
idea.
movie.
Yeah, it's a sprint game.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Oh man, that's a good idea for an app. The sprinting game.
True.
So how did Engine 11 happen? Tell me about being on that team, and are you going to be on the team again in 2018, or how does?
Oh yeah. So I like just joined at the end of the season.
Okay.
I had like just moved down here in July, and Asia Morris, she's my teammate. She's been on Engine 11 like since the beginning. She's like, "Are you looking for a team to join when you come down here?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is a lot. I don't know yet." And so after nationals, like Asia and I were like training for the Red Bull Last Stand together, and then like I met all the team members and I went on a ride with them, and then Kevin, the manager, was like, "Sydney." Oh, so what happened was Asia was like, "Oh, we have to wait for Kevin to meet you before we can like invite you on the team." And so then I went on this ride with everyone, and it was like a really long ride, and like I had just finished nationals, and I wasn't in like shape for like, I'm not in shape ever for long climby rides. And it was just like it was this like really long climby ride, and then there was like a barbecue after, and then so Kevin, everyone is doing like the spicy noodle challenge. Kevin had the spiciest ramen from Korea, and like illegal here spicy. And so then I was like second up to like do the spicy noodle challenge. You just had to like eat the spicy ramen like as fast as you can. And like one guy did it in 40 seconds.
Jesus.
And I was ridiculous. He won, obviously. Like he was the first one, and he like set the standard. No one else wanted to do it. But like I did the challenge, like just like not even thinking about like whether it was like a hazing, if it was or wasn't. But I was just like doing it because like, okay, sure, why not? I like spicy stuff. And then Kevin like was like, "Okay, do you want to be on the team?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, of course I do." And then, so then we all started training together for Red Bull Last Stand, and that was like the last race of my season, at least. And it was really fun because like Asia was like training since being like untrained, because she took the year off. And then Evelyn was like doing all the red hooks of last year. And then we had 2 other guys who went with us, Edgar and Abel. Abel's really funny. So is Edgar. They're all funny. Everyone's so funny on Engine 11. Like, I love them. Yeah. And then that's how that, so yeah. So now and we all go to like, we usually go to the track on Tuesdays or Thursdays and do like training there. There's like a session, an endurance session, and yeah, and I don't know what 2018 is going to be like, but I'm like super stoked for it. I'm like so excited.
Nice. Do you have any races that you know you're going to be doing this year?
Definitely track nationals, and I really want to do Mission Crit again. I want to try Bone Machine Crit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go there too. I have a bunch of friends in Portland I haven't seen in a while, so it seems like a good excuse.
I've never been to Portland for longer than like an hour, because I've always just been driving through to Seattle. But I want to do that, and then I want to do the Marymore Grand Prix and the Alpenrose Grand Prix, which is like, those are 2 track events up there, and then SoCal Fix Series if it happens, and the local Velodrome races, and then definitely gonna try to get to Brooklyn for Red Hook. And the Red Bull Last Stand was really fun.
Yeah, I want to do that too.
Yeah,
because I grew up in Texas and stuff, so going down there is like a good excuse to tell my mom to meet us up there, so we can kind of like, I'll do the race and then maybe like stay for a little while and like hang out. Yeah. In Austin probably, but though San Antonio is really cool too. Don't get me wrong. But
I mean, I really enjoyed San Antonio, but I've never really been to anywhere else in Texas. So
yeah, for sure. No, San Antonio is great. I haven't spent a lot of time there, and all my friends in Texas pretty much live in Austin, so
True.
So we'll probably head over to Austin after that, but
nice.
Yeah. I had a film play in a film festival last year, and we went down to the film festival was in Fort Worth, so then we went to Austin for a little while, we went to Fort Worth, and then we went to San Antonio for like one day, and I kind of wish I would have spent more time there, so Red Bull Last Stand will be a good excuse.
Yeah. And yeah, it was like for me, that race was pretty annoying.
Yeah.
But only because I kept sprinting myself to stay into the race. I kept winning my little sprints, because I dropped off into like the back group.
Yeah.
I was overgeared and also just like tired from the whole year.
Yeah.
But I was only annoyed because like no one out sprinted me, so I stayed in the race longer.
You're like, somebody out sprint me, come on.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually I'm jealous of the pink Engine 11 bike that you have.
Oh,
so.
And it's so pretty.
At some point, I will have a pink bike. At some point.
Nice.
I want one.
10 out of 10.
Nice.
Do recommend.
Sweet. Yeah, I like, I've been looking at the Engine 11s, so we'll see.
I'm actually building up the Crit D road frame probably tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah, and I also got the Engine 11 Nomad, like the touring frame.
Yeah.
Which I'm like so excited to build, because I don't have a dirt bike, and I've only ridden, I just tried a cross race for the first time last month, and it was so much fun.
Nice.
So I'm super stoked to get all these bikes built up.
Nice. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome. I was thinking about doing like a gravel race on my All City fixed gear because I can put cyclocross tires on it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, because my wife's from Lincoln, Nebraska, and they have the gravel worlds out there, and I don't think they really care what bike you ride. So it's kind of like, ooh, I'll throw some brakes on it and like, enter the single speed category.
Yeah.
I mean, I've ridden 100 miles fixed gear before. I'll do it
That'll
fast
be
this
fun.
time.
Yeah. True. I have too many bikes now. I'm just like looking at them all. I'm just like, God damn it.
Well, at least you're sponsored. You probably get a deal. I've had too many bikes and no sponsors. So I need somebody to sponsor this podcast.
Dude, you probably could though.
Maybe at some point. I hope so. Engine 11, you listening? Sponsor this podcast. I want a pink bike.
Hashtag sponsor me. I don't really see it as a sponsorship. I see it just like as being on like a team of like people who like want to train and like be fast and like look pretty.
Sweet.
Not that like looking pretty is that's one of my like objectives, but yeah, like I just see it as more of like family of like, oh, we're just like all training together and we happen to like race on the same kind of bikes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good way to look at it, I think, because otherwise sometimes I feel like when things start feeling like a job, it stops being fun. So
100%.
If you look at it as being like a bunch of people hanging out and racing, then I feel like you can kind of keep that magic alive longer.
Yeah, totally.
So, how do I ask this question?
Oh my god, the suspense.
Oh no, it's not. Oh. It's not. So, what do you think about Donald Trump?
Oh god. Well, actually, I was just in DC yesterday and I took a picture of me flicking off the White House. So that's how I feel about Donald Trump.
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I asked the question.
Oh, great.
I agree. Fuck that guy.
Cool, yeah. Fuck that guy.
Anyway, this isn't a political podcast. So. No, I was going to ask about like your off-season training or whenever you're kind of getting back into it. Like, what do you do to kind of keep up the fitness or?
So I have a coach. She helps me. She's been my coach for like the past year and a few months. So last year during off season, I was just like doing a bunch of like trainer workouts and like roller workouts, like hour-long interval sessions a couple times a week, and then like sprint training at the Velodrome. But this year, I've just been in the gym, and it's been great. My quads are like growing, and I have like noticeable quad lines now.
Nice.
So
I just got those.
I'm like,
so.
Nice. Yeah. That's the reason why I race my bike. So, that's nice. I'm pretty slow right now. Also, I'm like not fast, on the bike, but that's okay. 'Cause I don't know, like racing is in the middle, like end of April. So
Yeah,
we still have a few months to get there. Yeah. But yeah, I've just been in the gym doing some squats and Romanian deadlifts. Oh, Romanian deadlifts, like, you just can't walk. Like, you're just waddling around afterwards.
I need to do some of those. I feel like I got quad lines just from riding. 'Cause I ride, like I live in Colorado, so I like to do climbing and stuff.
Nice.
And I only have track bikes right now, so I'm doing it on track bikes. And
nice.
And so I feel like I'm noticing quads for like the first time in my life.
For sure. I mean, it's just like.
But I think I've leveled off, so I need to like get into the gym and like work harder.
Or just put on a heavier gear.
Yeah, actually, I just did that.
Yeah.
I just put a 14 on the back, and I'm gonna go try to do this mountain called Lookout. So I'm gonna do 48-14
Oh my god.
Because I thought it would make the descending a little more fun. Because I won't be spinning out as much.
Dang. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
that's like solid race ratio.
Yeah, there's like man, I went and rode the guy I interviewed for like the first podcast. We rode out to this town called Golden, and there's not a ton of like climbing on the way there, but there are some hills, and he's riding like a 51-14, I think.
Oh my god.
I was just like, Jesus. I didn't even know what to say.
What is that, a 96?
Yeah, something like that. And then he like did Lookout Mountain like that a bunch of times, or does it all the time. And yeah, those legs are strong.
Oh my god, can you send it to me so I can see? I'll just look it up. I'll post it on Quad Spotting.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, talk about Quad Spotting, your podcast.
Oh,
I want to know about this.
So podcast is Quadcast.
Quadcast. That's what I meant to say. Quadcast.
Oh, that's okay. So I wanted to, so just like you, where you're like, oh, there's not enough like track or fixie podcasts. I fucking love podcasts, and I've been listening to, what was that? It's like Fast Talk from Velo News or something.
Oh, nice.
And I've learned a lot from them, but like they're all fucking roadies, and I'm like, why don't you talk about track racing? Like, why is it only road racing and like long road racing?
Talks about track.
Yeah, like, and not even like they talked about track once when they were talking about like warming up. Like, should you warm up before a race? And so I was like all over that episode. I was like, yes, tell me more. And so I was just like getting pissed off in general because all the other cycling podcasts out there are roadie focused, and also none of them are really women. Like, none of them really highlighted women, and so it was just like so far removed from like everything I'm interested in that I'm like, all right, well then. Okay, so then my friend, this guy that I met at Track Nationals, Chris Schmidt, who runs the Velodrome at Colorado Springs, started a podcast called The Track Stand. And I was like, fuck yeah, like finally, like a track related podcast. It's going to be great. And then he kind of like disappointed me. Sorry, Chris, but like, like he was talking to some really rad women, but like, about like the weather, and I was like so disappointed. I was like, but this woman is so cool, and you're talking to her about the weather, like why? And so then I was like, all right, that's fine, like I'm just gonna make one. And so I somehow thought of like Quadcast. I don't know if it was a friend or if it was me, but I was like, all right, Quadcast, perfect. And then I interviewed my friend Christiana about a month ago, and I've just been like sort of swamped with stuff, but yeah, it's called the Quadcast. I'm going to release it hopefully this week. So by the time this episode is released, it'll be out there. And then, yeah,
I
just want to
link
like
in the show notes, and I'll post about it on Instagram too.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And then, so yeah, and yeah, I'm just going to right now, like, talk to women, just like how we're talking, just about like their interest in track and cycling and racing and their experiences, and then eventually open it up to like guys. And when I mean like women, I don't mean like just like, I mean like all like women, trans, femme identifying people.
I totally support that. I think that's so important to highlight that. And
yeah, definitely.
And like that's definitely something I want to do here too. And I think it's rad. We all got to support each other. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I wanted to give it a shout out on this. So go check out Quadcast.
I appreciate you.
Do it. Support women cycling. Support queer, trans, non-binary folk. Do it. Don't be a dick.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. 2018 is going to be great, I think. Like,
I think so.
Because
I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah. I'm really stoked for this year.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, what do you like to listen to when you're on the trainer? Or do you listen to things on the bike when you're outside, or not so much?
Yeah. I'm mostly into like really upbeat stuff. I'm like a really like energetic person, and
I don't believe that.
need really.
Just kidding.
No, yeah. But like I tend to like I'll find an album and then I'll just like listen to it too much, and then I'll get sick of it and find another album and do the same thing. So currently I'm like really stoked on the new Nerd album.
Okay.
My friend Chance got me into it, and like the first song on the album is just like so like you just like need to like it pumps me up so much.
I know what you're saying. I completely know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm the same way
called
though.
Lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Nerd. I'll check that out.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't discriminate unless it's country. Then I don't.
Not even old country?
I mean like Southern classic rock. That's more on the rock side. Like
right.
Leonard Skinner I'll listen to.
Okay.
But like other than that, I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's all right. I can't listen to it while I'm on a bike. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, certain situations.
Yeah.
I can get down
and
with
also
some...
like, oh.
No, I was just saying.
Word.
In certain situations, I can get down with some Loretta Lynn or old Johnny Cash or something. But
oh, true.
Nothing
I do
new.
love Johnny Cash.
Nothing past like the 60s, no. I feel like.
Okay, no. Yeah. And also, like, it's funny because, like, the music you listen to, at least for me, like, because I like, listen to set music until I get sick of it, like, that sort of defines that, like, month period or, like, whatever period of time and all the rides that happen during it. And so like, this one, I love this artist, Geographer, and his music is, like, pretty upbeat, but the lyrics are super sad. And so it makes you, like, happy, but also, like, oh, wow, this is really sad at the same time. So, like, I listened to that when I was, like, bike touring a lot. So I was, like, bike touring to get over this guy, and I was sad. So, like, now whenever I listen to that, I think of this time where I'm, like, really sad, but also really happy because I'm on my bike. So it's like, oh, I don't know what emotion to feel right now.
I completely understand that. I understand that completely.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely get into that.
Yeah.
Cool. Was there anything else that you wanted to shout out, or?
No. Quad spotting Instagram, Quadcast podcast. Engine 11. I fucking love their bikes, and I love being on the team, and I'm, like, so stoked for 2018. Thanks for reaching out to me.
Oh, of course.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I was just, I don't even know how it happened, how I was following you, but I was like, this person seems fun. I want to see if they want to interview.
Cool.
Plus, like,
awesome.
Their Engine 11 bikes are always kind of, like, sticking out to me when I see them, because I'm like, man, pink bike.
They're so nice. Oh my god, but, like, when I was behind Evelyn in that first race I was describing earlier, there's, on the back of the bike, it says, like, let me see what it says. So I'm correct. It says, triple butted. Okay, it just says, okay. Well, anyway, the motto or like the slogan of Engine 11 is your legs are the engine.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, I was behind Evelyn in this race, and I was like, oh my God, I get it. Engine 1-1 is like, the 1-1 is your legs, and your legs are the engine. Yeah, like, I had this whole, like, revelation. Like,
holy shit, I just had that revelation on the podcast. It just happened.
Yeah. So imagine, like, being in a race and then realizing that.
And you're
great.
like, holy fuck.
Yeah. And I just feel like it's like so like close to me in terms of like how obsessed I am with quads. So I just feel like everything is perfect. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to, maybe I'll put this in somewhere else in the middle, but I was thinking I did want to touch on if you have any kind of like tips for like women that want to get involved and they haven't yet, or anyone really.
Definitely.
But
I think what has helped me most is like having a set goal that you're striving for, and like a very specific goal, and then like researching like what do I need to do to like get faster? Like, oh, I need to like race. I need to just like go out there and race, and then like do like intervals and just like enjoy my time on the bike and like prepare myself for like this specific race that I really want to do. And I'm like really bad with planning, but planning has helped me so much.
Yeah. I can feel you there. I'm the same way.
Yeah. Like I hate planning and I love being spontaneous, but like it has really changed my life. But at the bare minimum, just like finding some people to like go do intervals with, and just like doing any race that you can, and just like having fun with it is like always like not to get too serious, just like enjoy it, you know.
I think that's a recurring theme with everybody that asks this question is like, just remember you're riding a bike and it's fucking fun and it's liberating, and do it if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. like it will literally make you happy.
Yeah.
Like that's how science works.
Exactly. For sure. Well, Quadney, cool. Sydney, thank you so much for being on this podcast. Yeah, thank you for hitting me up. Yeah. For sliding into this DM. Definitely. In a totally respectful, nice way. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool. Thanks again, and good luck with your podcast and everything. And let's keep in touch. Maybe we'll see each other at race stuff. Yeah, definitely. Hit me up if you come to Long Beach, and I'll hit you up if I come to Colorado. Absolutely. All right, that does it for another episode of Save the Track Bike. Thanks again for downloading and listening. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed recording this episode. It was super fun. Yeah, that's all I got. This episode was produced by David Draper. The music is from Vitamin Pets from Free Music Archive. And go ride your track bike in inappropriate places if you want to.